nice young lady rather than a drunk businessman, which is typically the clientele at 3 a.m. He drives quietly to the park. She directs him where to stop the car, and she pays him. She slides out of the back seat and hauls her own suitcase out of the back of the trunk. Again, it looked really heavy, really heavy. She said, "No, don't worry about it, sir. I can do it myself." I mean, the physical strength of the youth never ceased to amaze this taxi driver. They say their goodbyes, and he watches with a little bit of curiosity as she practically skips into the park towards the grassy field. What a strange girl. She looked like what? A middle schooler? A high schooler at most. She looked really young. I mean, what is she even doing alone at this hour? And where is she going with the suitcase in the park? He decides to take a smoke break right then and there. He honestly thought that she probably would need a ride back. I mean, no taxi was going to stop in the middle of the park for her to get onto the taxi. It's near the river at 3 a.m. I think nothing good can happen to a young girl roaming around looking for a ride at this time. So he's smoking it up and he looks up. It's been about, 15-20 minutes? And there she is again. And he's just watching her as she walks out of the park towards him, and her suitcase looks very light all of a sudden. Because, earlier it was dragging on the wheels. It was kind of forcing her body to lean a little bit forward to pull it. And now it's practically flying around as she's moving it about. The girl asked him for a ride back. The whole energy seemed strange. It seemed like she didn't even notice that it was the same taxi driver, and he kept glancing at her in the rearview mirror as he drove her to her destination. Something in his gut told him, this isn't right. Like, something feels wrong. Where would she have gone with that suitcase, and why would it be lighter coming out of the park? Nobody just throws away their clothes in the park. She might be a middle schooler, but there is this energy about her. He would alert the police, and they found that she had been transporting a victim's dismembered body from the victim's own apartment to that very park. The taxi driver had unknowingly transported dismembered human remains, in the trunk of his car. He had sat in the car with a young baby-faced killer, not once, but twice.
Wait, he called the police just because how suspicious it was?
They searched the grassy field in the park.
Wow.
This case has recently gone viral in Korea for a number of reasons. Just the brazenness of the crime, the CCTV footage of the killer looking like a happy person. I'm gonna show this to you. She's just skipping around with dismembered remains in her suitcase. She's got a cute little bob, and it's almost bouncing about. People say it's so unsettling because she has this childlike mannerism to her, this energy to her. There's dismembered remains in the suitcase. But also, the fact that the killer was stated to have an unhealthy fascination with serial killers and an obsession with true crime documentaries. She killed, dismembered, and disposed of a victim because she, quote, just wanted to see what it feels like to kill. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com, but this is a developing case, and as always, this is the information that we have as of now. Things could change, they could get worse. I don't know if we'll get too much information considering the privacy laws in South Korea. Also, as per South Korean laws, the victim of this case and her family have chosen to stay anonymous, so throughout this case, we will refer to her with the alias of Hannah. And with all foreign cases, we had our Korean researchers work on this case to get as much of what we could that's out there and compile it in this video for you guys, so let's get into it. The victim, Hannah, was a young woman in her 20s. She was tutoring high schoolers in English. I would not say tutoring is an easy job in South Korea. It's a very serious job. Parents are picky, over-involved, very diligent in picking the absolute perfect tutor for their perfect children whom they believe are entitled to be the next Einsteins. So it's a difficult job, but Hannah liked it. She was a university student at a prestigious school. It worked well with her schedule, and it made it easier for her to get a tutoring position to begin with. And she liked being able to help these grade schoolers get interested in English. She made the whole process fun for them and just wanted to be like a cool tutor. That was her genuine vibe. That's her goal. So in 2023, with all of the available apps out there, there is a platform for tutors. Tutors will sign up and they will be verified by the platform for having the specific credentials. They will verify with the school that they're a student. They will verify their transcripts, grades, everything, to make sure that these tutors that are online are being advertised, their background checks. It's basically a tutor securing app that parents are obsessed with. Parents will go on there and they will look for tutors in every single subject for their elementary, middle school, and high school kids. The demand for English tutors was actually pretty high, and the pay was fairly good. So Hannah had a lot of parents messaging her, inquiring about her services, including the mom of a middle school student who was, this mom was very adamant about hiring Hannah. Originally, Hannah declined this mother's offer because her house was so far away from Hannah's. I mean, she naturally wanted something closer because why commute if you don't have to? So she said, thank you so much. Like, I'm sure that your middle schooler will find a great tutor, but it's just too far for me. This mom really seemed to like Hannah though. She even offered to send her daughter to Hannah's house, drop her off for these English sessions. Hannah kind of felt bad. I mean, the mom seemed really desperate for her daughter to have an English tutor. Maybe she had an exam coming up. Maybe she was the only tutor that seemed to fit the mom's profile. It was strange, but she found it hard to say no. Besides, she really did like tutoring. She really did like helping students. May 26th of 2023, Friday, right around dinner time, so right around 6 p.m., Hannah slowly gets her house ready because this is the first day that this student is going to come over and they're going to tutor in English together. So she's cleaning up, wiping the table down, and she hears a knock on the door. She peers through the little camera and she sees a preteen student, a middle schooler. Kind of short bob haircut that's curled outwards like how middle schoolers do it. It kind of stopped at her chin. Her glasses would make her cheeks look even rounder. And in many situations, I think most people would look at this face and think, oh, like what a cute middle schooler. She's got like cute little cheeks. And she's standing there wearing her school uniform. So Hannah opens the door and she's ready to start tutoring. There would have been no way for Hannah to have known that this little middle schooler that she had just let into her home was not actually a middle schooler. Cheng Yu-jung was her name. She was not a middle schooler. Yu-jung was not 12 or 13 or even 14 or 15 years old, but rather 23 years old. She could have potentially been older than Hannah. We don't know the victim's precise age. The middle school uniform that she was wearing was purchased at a thrift store, and underneath it, she was hiding a knife. Within minutes of entering, Yu-jung established that Hannah lived alone. She pulled out her knife and viciously stabbed Hannah. She repeatedly stabbed Hannah in the neck, only on like a particular spot/side. That's what a lot of the reports said, which would later indicate to a lot of psychiatrists that she had researched where to stab. She knew what she was doing. She also stabbed the same area on the neck over 20 times. Once the 23-year-old pretending to be a middle schooler finished killing the victim, she relished in the satisfaction of a job well done. She would spend the greater part of the evening at Hannah's apartment, possibly pretending as if this was her own apartment, even changing into the jacket that Hannah wore. She took a jacket out of Hannah's closet and wore it the rest of the night. The jacket that you see on CCTV camera is Hannah's jacket. CCTV cameras would catch this 23-year-old Yu-jung going in and out of Hannah's apartment, going back and forth from her own place, hauling cleanup tools, and other times she would bring a suitcase, which indicates that while everyone believes that this is a premeditated murder, she was underprepared. But more shocking than that was that she was caught on CCTV looking very relaxed. She's taking taxis to and from Hannah's place, to her place, to the store to buy supplies. She's bringing around giant suitcases from her house to Hannah's house. She's going to a local store buying bleach, knives, trash bags.
That's crazy to me, because Korea, you're saying there's camera every corner.
Korea is like the city. I'm sure it's similar in China and maybe Japan. Like the city of CCTV.
What?
I don't understand either. Yeah. We're gonna go down kind of a few conspiracy routes later, but it gets weird. She brings this suitcase and all these supplies back to Hannah's, and she gets to dismembering the victim. She spends the rest of the night and into the early hours of the morning doing this. She then stuffs unspecified parts of the victim's body into a suitcase and hauls a cab. And again, just seeing her with that suitcase out in the streets, just the way that she's walking is so nonchalant. She's almost practically skipping. People say she almost has this childlike demeanor, meaning that if we were to bump into her in the street, we would probably think, oh my god, I just bumped into like a little high schooler. Oopsie, sorry. Like, oh, she looks cute and innocent. She very much had a girl next door, sweet, innocent appearance that had viewers and netizens absolutely floored when they found out what was in that suitcase. Around 3 p.m., she puts the luggage into the trunk of a taxi, directs the driver to drop her off near a wooded area near Hopo Station. This is near like the Nakdong River, and reportedly the killer, Yu Jung, she loved going on walks in this park. This was her favorite spot. She gets dropped off by the taxi driver, walks into the grassy area, and starts scattering the remains of Hannah. Seoul University forensic professor would say that even the grassy location by the Nakdong River could have been planned. The tall grass by the water, it holds a lot of insects and disinfectants, like I'm assuming it's like pesticides, that would accelerate the decomposition of the body parts within a week. So if she had not been caught by then, there's a high chance the body would have been hard to recognize or even how to ID the body. Professor Yu is quite certain that she knew about all of this, which is why she chose to go this far with the body and even get in a taxi to scatter the remains at this park. Perhaps her frequent walks around this park made her familiar with the area. It made her want to leave a body here. Now, it's all going according to 23-year-old Yu Jung's plan, except the taxi driver. She believed the taxi driver would not be able to tell the difference between a girl traveling with luggage for vacation at 3 a.m. versus a girl traveling with luggage full of body parts. The taxi driver would call the police, and it was very quickly traced back to Yu Jung. In a show called We Want to Know in Korea, it was revealed that another bystander actually saw Yu Jung throw away this huge trash bag of bloody blankets, bloody leggings, before she walked away with her rolling suitcase. Again, just 5 hours later, she was arrested.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah. Now, side note, there was a rumor circulating that the taxi driver had gotten out to help Yu Jung unload her luggage from the trunk, and as he was trying to help her, he had touched the luggage and felt that it was wet upon impact. The rumor was that he got back into the taxi, and you know how like the... Yeah. Now, from Hannah's place to her place to the store to buy supplies, she's a middle schooler.
you